What's up, everybody? It's Matt Modi coming to you from OddsJam.com. And in today's video, it's very simple. I'm teaching you how to make money betting on sports. I'm not going to talk about how you can make a specific amount of money because everybody's bankroll is different. I'm just going to tell you how you can generate a positive ROI when betting on sports. It's actually not that difficult. There are a couple simple strategies that you can, no matter who you are and what your bankroll is, that you can start doing as a sports bettor, and it will be incredibly profitable. It will return a positive return on investment from betting on sports. But before I get into it, a couple things. Number one, I would appreciate if you could click that like button and if you could subscribe to the OddsJam YouTube channel. Helps me out a ton. My full-time role at OddsJam is as a betting analyst as well as content creator. So it helps me out a ton for people like you that are watching this video. If you could just give it a like, subscribe to the OddsJam YouTube channel, and then most importantly for me, just comment with your feedback. I would love to know what you thought of the video, if it was something that you enjoyed, if so, what you enjoyed about it. If you hated it, that's totally fine. I'm open to constructive criticism as well. Anything that I can do to make these videos more helpful for you as the watcher will be beneficial for me as well. And as I mentioned, I am a content creator and betting analyst for OddsJam. I've been using OddsJam for about a year now, and I'm listing you see in the screenshot, some of my stats and analytics as an OddsJam user. So I've been using it, like I said, for about a year now. I only had 2 down months out of all of them. So 10 profitable months, 2 down ones, and you can see ROI of about 5%. So I told you I didn't want to get into specific numbers and how you can make this much. I'm just telling you how you can make a positive return, and use me as an example, someone that has been using OddsJam, someone that has turned a profit using OddsJam, and I'm just giving you advice about how you can do the same, how you can make money betting on sports. So let's get into it. All right, so what I have up here is my screen shared showing you my OddsJam homepage. So all of this information comes from all the bets that I placed using OddsJam in the past year or so. And the strategy that I wanted to highlight is this positive expected value strategy down here. So as you can see, this is where the majority of my profits have come from. 9K of my 13K, so about 70% of my profit comes from positive expected value. It's the easiest way to turn a positive return on investment on betting on sports is just to bet positive EV. So I'll tell you exactly what it means to bet positive expected value and how it makes sense and why it is so profitable. But if you have any questions, I definitely recommend, again, hitting me up. You can hit me up on Twitter, Modi_Matt. You can email me, Matthew@oddsjam.com. Don't email Matt@oddsjam.com because we have another individual started before me whose name is Matt. So I, unfortunately, am not at that email alias. But Matthew@oddsjam.com, I am, with any questions. So OddsJam.com, their bread and butter is the positive expected value betting tool. So all you need to do if you're on the OddsJam website, you can just sign up for a week to test things out. Betting tools, positive EV. So in general, positive expected value means you are betting on opportunities in which we have a higher likelihood of that bet hitting than the reflected odds that we are getting it at. So I know that sounds confusing. So let me use an example of flipping a coin. Basically, if you flip a coin, the standard odds are going to be 50-50, right? If you flip a coin 100,000 zillion million times, 50% of the time, it'll be heads, 50% of the time, it'll be tails. With positive expected value, pretend you have a weighted coin. So we know that the coin is actually going to land on heads 52% of the time. It's a little bit weighted towards heads. No one else knows that. No one else knows that. So if I'm placing bets with people, they're going to say, okay, it's fine, 50-50, we'll see what happens. But for me, I know that it's actually 52-48 as opposed to 50-50. So that's kind of what I mean by we are placing bets where we as the individual know that the bet has a higher percent chance of occurring than the odds that we are betting it at. And that's exactly what the OddsJam positive expected value page shows you. It shows you opportunities in which every bet you're placing is mathematically profitable with a percent of profitability associated with it. But before we go into profitability and percent and all that, let's first talk about how we know what percent chance the bet should truly be priced at. That's the first aspect of it. The first aspect is what the bet should truly be priced at, what the actual probability of this bet occurring to hit is. The next piece of it is the odds that we are betting it at. That part is pretty simple. The odds that we're betting it at is just the sportsbook that is offering the odds that we can place the bet on. So WinBet, Caesars, BetMGM, FanDuel, FoxBet, DraftKings, all that good stuff. That's the second part of it. The first part is the most important part and what makes everything positive expected value. In that, what you need to know is this OddsJam column here. This OddsJam column here reflects the true line of what a market should truly be priced at. These odds are pulled from Pinnacle Sportsbook. Pinnacle Sportsbook is the sharpest sportsbook in the world in terms of pricing odds. They are what we view as the quote-unquote true line of a market. Now, you're probably wondering, why is Pinnacle the sharpest sportsbook in the world? So there's a video that I will show at the end of this video that explains in great detail the OddsJam co-founder talking exactly about Pinnacle Sportsbook and why it's the sharpest. What you need to know is, at a high level, they accept sharp action, they don't have limits, and they're available in a wide range of countries. So they have the most efficient betting market. They literally brand themselves as winners welcome. They accept sharp action. They want sharp action. So the odds that are reflected on Pinnacle are a true reflection of the betting market, more so than some of these sports books that we can place bets on. So what you need to know is this OddsJam line here is viewed as the true line. This is where we get what the market should truly be priced at. So this is how we know that the coin is weighted towards heads, 52% towards heads, and not 50-50. WinBet, Caesars, BetMGM thinks that coin is 50-50. We know using the OddsJam line that it's actually 52%. And the next thing you need to understand are the no VIG odds. So the VIG can be viewed as the juice that sportsbooks price up odds. If you want to learn about the VIG, again, there's a ton of content on the OddsJam channel talking about the VIG. You can also, and this is completely free to use, go to Calculator's No VIG Fair Odds Calculator, and it gives you a little blurb, about how to use the calculator and exactly what the VIG is. At a high level, like I mentioned, the VIG is the juice that sportsbooks price odds. It's the tax that sportsbooks price odds. The best way to think about it is when you see a market that is minus 110 on each way, minus 110, minus 110, the math behind that is I have to risk $110 in order to profit 100. So if there are two bettors, I place one bet, you place the other on the opposite side, we each place $110. The sportsbook, no matter what, will profit $10 from that interaction. Fair? You be the judge of that, but that is how they make their money, by charging the VIG. So understanding what the betting market of Pinnacle Sportsbook thinks of a specific play with the VIG removed is incredibly important, because that's how you can get the fair odds. And something that I find incredibly interesting, might only be interesting to me because as a former data analyst, I love math, I love numbers, I love probabilities. All odds have a win percentage associated with them. So minus 110, minus 102, minus 120, they all have a win percentage associated with them. So this is where we get the win percentage of this specific bet. So for this bet here, NFL season starting soon, very, very exciting. The OddsJam line with the VIG removed prices this at minus 121. If you click this little calculator here, it'll actually pull up the win percentage, basically meaning that odds that are minus 121.26 have a win percentage of 54.8%. So basically, Pinnacle Sportsbook is telling you they think that the Bills have a 54.8% chance of winning week 1 against the Super Bowl champion Rams. And we can also determine what the percent chance that the odds that we're betting at reflect as well. So we know what the true line reflects this bet to occur, which is 54.8%. Now, let's find out what the value of minus 110 is so we can see the exact difference of this weighted coin. So you go to calculators. Again, the calculators are completely free to use. Odds converter calculator. You just need to go to the odds, type in minus 110, reflect a 52.36% chance of hitting. So the OddsJam perfect line gives this a 54.8% chance of hitting, but the odds that we are betting it at only reflect a 52.36% chance of hitting. So let's talk about this. We are placing a bet that we think hits 54% of the time, essentially 54.6%. But the odds that we are betting it at, minus 110, we only need to hit 52.36% of the time in order to be profitable. So that gap between the 52 and 54%, just to have even numbers, that is where the positive expected value comes into play. So that's what I mean. We are placing a bet that we're flipping a coin that has a 54% chance of hitting, but the person who's accepting the bet only thinks it has a 52% chance of hitting, and we make the difference in there. So betting on opportunities that have positive expected value associated with them over time is how you will be profitable betting on sports. So that's part of it, is positive EV betting. But there are a couple things to look out for when it comes to positive EV betting to ensure that you are placing the most profitable bets and also reducing your variance. Bets that are on the positive EV page are inherently going to be mathematically profitable with the percent of profitability to the left here. But that doesn't mean that every single bet on this positive EV page you should just take. There's a couple things to look out for. Number one is this column here that says width. So this stands for market width, and this is what we use to measure confidence in what lines are being priced at. So this part, it's not very complicated. The logic behind market width being the closer these two numbers are together, the closer the OddsJam line prices both sides of a line, that means that they're more confident in what they're pricing the market at. So the more confident equals the closer they are together. If they weren't as confident in the lines, they would be pricing a higher juice and the numbers would be farther away. So calculating the difference between these two lines, so in this case, 128 minus 116 equals 12, 28 minus 16 equals 12. This bet only has a 12 cents of market width associated with it. So general rules of thumb regarding market width, I like to stick with a market width that is 25 cents and below. So anything that is 25 and below is something that I will consider. And then if you want a really, really tight market, look at anything that is 15 and below. So this bet being at 12 is a very, very tight market, something that is definitely should be considered betting. All right, so I've talked about what positive expected value means. I've talked about what market width is. The last strategy regarding positive EV betting that I want to talk about to help reduce your variance is just betting on outliers and identifying outliers in your positive EV bets. So what that means is we want to find out is the bet that we're placing. So this first example I have filtered specifically for the NFL. This Las Vegas Raiders week 1 against the Chargers. They are plus 168 on FanDuel. The OddsJam line has that at plus 154. So I mentioned that the OddsJam line is pulled from Pinnacle Sportsbook, which is the best sportsbook in the world, the most accurate sportsbook in the world in terms of pricing odds. But it's still important to look at what every other sportsbook is pricing it, because we want to see, are all the other sportsbooks, are they closer to the Pinnacle line, or are they closer to the book that we'd be betting it? In this case, the FanDuel line. And all you need to do to look at the betting market is if you just click into a play, it pulls up what every other sportsbook is pricing this specific market at. So let's talk about this one. Let's see what we see here. The OddsJam line prices this at plus 154. The FanDuel line prices this at plus 168. And if you are just looking at this objectively, for the Raiders money line, what stands out here? Does plus 154 stand out, or does plus 168 stands out? In this case, the plus 168 clearly stands out among the rest. The closest book to FanDuel is Caesars and Fox Bet, which is about 8 cents away from FanDuel and closer to the OddsJam line. BetMGM and Tipico, they actually price this below the OddsJam line. So if we're looking at this objectively, if we don't know anything about sports, if we're just saying, hey, what book is giving you the most outrageous line here, the OddsJam line or the FanDuel line? In this case, it's the FanDuel line. So because Pinnacle Sportsbook is another sportsbook that prices odds, it's still important to have that extra sense of security, seeing that FanDuel is the outlier here. They seem to have something mispriced with this money line that no other book has. So if we're just thinking about this objectively, either FanDuel knows better than everybody, or they just have something mispriced here. To me, the most likely scenario, Occam's razor, is that FanDuel has this mispriced. Another way in which you can look for outliers. So here's a bet that I've actually already placed for week 1, the Commanders, Washington football commanding team versus the Jaguars. So we're looking for outliers from an odds perspective and also from a totals perspective. So if I open this in a new tab, so the play is on the under 44.5. So if I open this in a new tab, it takes you directly to the play. And what we see here is FanDuel is by far the highest in what they're pricing this total at. No other book prices this total, the main line, at 44.5. FoxBet prices that at -120, closer to the OddsJam line. Every other book, Caesars, BetOnline, FoxBet, has this at 44. BetMGM, Tipico, and the OddsJam line, Pinnacle, have this at 43.5. So from a totals perspective, this 44.5 is a clear outlier. We're gaining at minimum a half-point advantage over some of the other sports books, and at maximum a full point advantage over some of the sharper books like the OddsJam line, the sharpest line in the world. So beating the market by even a half a point can be incredibly, incredibly important to being profitable in the long run, even if it's just by half a point. But you can find examples where we're beating it by a full point, which we are here. If you're just comparing what Pinnacle and what FanDuel price this total at, there is a full point difference. So this is another example of an outlier. So you can find outliers from an odds perspective, and you can also find outliers from a totals and spread perspective. And that is my tutorial on how you can make money betting on sports. It's actually not that complicated when you identify the strategy and you talk about it part by part. Really, all you need to do is start positive expected value betting, look at the market width, make sure that you're betting on plays 25 cents and below, and then just check all the other markets. See if we are truly betting on an outlier or not. If you check off the box on all 3 of those things, I will almost personally guarantee that you will make a profit betting on sports. And that's going to be it. So I appreciate you guys watching. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know. Do not hesitate to reach out. Other than that, I would appreciate, again, comment on the video, like the video, subscribe to the OddsJam YouTube channel. All that stuff helps me out a ton. But I hope that you are ready to start making money betting on sports. So thanks for watching.